loving someone and having them love you back is the most precious thing in the world. In some cases, we say that this is true love, but how we will know if this feeling is true? By means of sacrifices, consequences, accepting the fact that the one you love is meant to somebody else, or through waiting to the person you knew that will never ever come back to you. Have you ever feel the power of love? But how far should a person go in the name of true love? Let me tell you a story of a man who sacrificed and accepted the fact that the girl will never be with him. There's a man whose name is Frederick Sander, who truly fall in love secretly in a girl named Samantha, whose first priority is her family, so that love is not much exist in her life. Frederick Sander is a good friend of Samantha, but not expectedly fall in love with her. He is a bad guy who only thinks of his self-satisfaction, while Samantha Lee is a lady who has a goal to make changes in her family standing in life. So she worked hard to be able to achieve this goal. One day, Sam planned to tell her decision to Frederick that she will go abroad and a job to support her family. Frederick was shocked to her decision, but he requested to drive her way to airport. The next day, in the airport, they gave their last goodbyes to each other. Suddenly, Sam in hurry and might be late on her flight. Then Sam halted and waved goodbye to Fred. In the moment, Fred lost his chance to say, "I love you," to Sam. After all, Fred was broken-hearted by the decision made by Samantha. Fred decided to make his life meaningful and worthful, while Samantha is away and waiting her to come back to him. In his work, he met a girl named Athena Lorraine Cortez. Athena is a nice and lovely girl, which is also much similar with Sam. And because of that, he found Sam in the personalities of Athena. When Athena and Fred get close to each other, Athena said once that she has a brother abroad that will come home soon, because he will get married to the girl that he met in abroad. One night, Athena invited Fred to have a dinner with them to formally meet her older brother, Alexander. After a few weeks, Alexander and Fred became close to each other and asked him to become his best man in his wedding, and they met up in one place. Alexander decides to ask Fred to be his best man. Fred arrived and they had a little talk. Then suddenly, Sam arrived and Fred has a great shockness in his face. Alexander formally introduced to Fred his fiancée, Samantha. Then, Alexander asked now if Fred can be his best man in his wedding. But Fred didn't accept it and left them early as possible. Fred talked to Athena why she didn't tell that Sam was his brother's fiancée. All she did say was, she didn't know. Athena kept on asking if he can give the favor of his brother. After what happened, Fred didn't answer any call or text messages and didn't show up in his job. In bachelor party, he showed up and agreed to become his best man. He made it clear to himself that he will give up Sam for the happiness of them two, and gave Alex a very big smile in his face. In the final day, the wedding of Alexander and Samantha, Fred didn't show up. He never showed up until the end of the wedding. Samantha and Alexander hesitated why do Fred doesn't show up on the wedding. In the reception, a letter sent by Fred was given by Athena to Sam when they got home. At home, Sam read the letters immediately, and she felt tears down to her face. At the end of the letter, it was written, "No matter what happens, I will keep on falling in love in the same woman in any ways. And for many years will pass, she will always be the one in my heart. I love you, Sam." This book was made by my friend himself, relating to his personal experiences. Thank you for listening again. I am Sam Lee Cortez, now signing off.
Colors and promises, how to be brave, how can I love when I'm afraid to fall, but watching you stand alone. for I